concussion coming off that thing standing right here.
Hi! Four? That last one get it?
Pretty sure. I like this FNS, dude.
It's a nice pistol, man.
I don't know if I want to sell this.
It's a solid gun. Alright, take 2 or 3, whatever this is. We got a late edition here. Cody showed up, so we got Josh, Jeremy, and Cody with the Doomsday Brothers here for you today. Again, what we're doing is another product from the FNH family, the FNS-40. Sweet little pistol. Jeremy, go ahead and show us what this pistol comes with when you purchase it.
Alright, so in the box when you get it, you obviously get the box with it. Then you have the pistol, 3 mags, and 2 back straps. With the back straps, the different ones you have this one that's more flat. It's supposed to be more like a 1911. And then you have the rounded one right here. This gun has been safety checked. There's no round in there or in the chamber.
Gotta be a man.
Yeah, no, man. If I wasn't such a big girl, it wouldn't be a problem, but I am.
You should put that other back strap on there. I don't think your hands can that manly rounded texture.
Okay, anyway.
Well, no, honestly though, I think that rounded grip on the back helps if you have larger hands. You know, if you're
a larger guy like me compared to him. Yeah.
Oh, here it goes. You just saw what you did. Proof's in the pudding, son. Continue. Continue.
Just saying stupid things now.
Let's talk about the gun here.
Anyway,
Cody's the moderator.
Now that we have like the lighting going weird. So. Okay. Anyway, so now what? We're gonna move on to the positives now. Is that okay with you?
Yeah. All right. So we constructed a list of positives here. First thing is the trigger. What do you feel about the trigger on this thing?
It's a nice trigger. It's striker action, but it's going to be a little bit different than a Glock. It's going to be similar to what you're going to see on one of the M&Ps from Smith & Wesson, where it's got that kind of broken trigger, I guess, safety mechanism going on.
And you know, it's your very simple double action that you'd have in any kind of a striker fire for the most part.
Yeah, as you can see, no hammer back here, so it's not going to go single action to lighter pull after a heavier double pull for.
I think that I generally do prefer the striker fire just because of its simplicity. I think Jeremy does too. Cody, how do you feel about the striker?
It's definitely, having the same trigger pull every time is nice, and also I feel like the less moving parts you have on the outside of your gun, the less chance you have for malfunction.
One less thing to worry about. And if you're doing competition, obviously, it can be an advantage.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing too, is that it's the same trigger pull every time, even though the single action on 1911 is going to be easier to shoot accurately, I do like that this is going to be the same every time.
And the trigger pull is not bad on it. It's listed at 5.5 to 7.7 pounds.
I'd say it's down on the lower end of that, definitely.
I would say so, yeah. It's a fairly light trigger.
Oh, trigger reset, it's going to have pretty good trigger reset, so when you go to reset the trigger here, right there, you're good to go again. So, it's got a nice trigger reset on it. Pretty short.
It's not bad for a stock trigger. It's not a competition trigger by any means, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's a good trigger. Next, it comes with night sight standard, which is really awesome. They're Trijicon night sights. So when you're looking at them down here, kind of cool thing about them, the front sight is double the size of the back dots, which is supposed to help you to line it up, and it's going to look more symmetrical, I guess, to your eye.
Yeah. Another unique feature on these is the back sight here. It's got a V shape to it.
Yeah, if you look down on the bottom here of the sight, I don't really have anything to point it with. Instead of just being straight across, it V's in, which I actually, I liked it. I wouldn't say that there's a huge difference either way, but I did like it. So night sights, those are nice. It is an accurate gun. It has a really low bore axis on it, so it doesn't have very much muzzle flip. So the follow-up shots are pretty easy to get back on target. I did, for comparing it to like 27 or 22, one of the 40s in Glock, I thought it was slightly easier to get back on target. Just had less muzzle flip.
Quick successive shots, no problem.
Yeah, which 40 is pretty snappy, so I didn't think it was bad at all with 40. And then down here on the bottom, you got a military standard 1913 accessory rail. So
Picatinny rail.
Picatinny rail, yeah. It's going to take whatever.
Those are great if it's going to be
size
your bed stand gun, something like that, so you can throw a light on there.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
Yeah,
it helps.
I like it. So, and this is probably going to be less of a concealed carry gun, more of a nightstand gun. I mean, you can conceal carry this gun. And when you look at the miscellaneous data that we have over here, the dimensions are pretty decent actually.
Yeah, what is it? It's a little over 7 inches long.
Yeah.
Only 1.5 wide, not bad.
And there's nothing that really sticks out really big on the gun here. If you look down on the side of the gun, you can't see anything that sticks out a whole lot. Even the safety is really low profile, so it's pretty easy to get to.
And that kind of goes along with the next point, the ambidextrous everything.
Yeah. So if you look at this gun, you got your magazine release, slide lock, and your safety all on this side. And all of them you have on this side as well. The only thing you don't have on this side is your takedown lever right there.
Which is a non-factor, obviously.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So that's a really nice thing to have on the gun, is that everything's ambidextrous. So if you're left-handed or if you're going to your weak hand to shoot, it's a cool thing to have.
And from my understanding, the trigger and the sights are also ambidextrous.
Thanks, Cody.
Good point, Cody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, that's a good talking point. We almost forgot to get
Along with that, man, it helps with the ergonomics. I think having ambidextrous controls is an important thing because, like you mentioned, if you're doing offhand shooting, there are situations that could arise where you may possibly have to depend on your opposite hand. And if that's the case, if you haven't trained at all using the strong side controls, you're going to want those ambi controls to help you out in that situation.
Yeah.
So, definitely an awesome thing. And along with all of that, just ergonomics of this gun, I think overall are fantastic.
Yeah, I really like this gun. The feel in your hand is really nice.
Yeah, it's a hand hugger, man.
I wouldn't say.
We shot with gloves on for the most part because it's been cold when we shot this pistol.
Yeah.
But and that does help. I mean, it feels nice when you have gloves on and you're gripping a pistol. But even without gloves on, it's a very ergonomic pistol.
Yeah. So yeah. Next one, we already talked about the low bore axis ratio. It's obviously a plus. We talked about the back straps. The grip on this is got a pretty aggressive texture to it. And I actually like that. Some people might think it's a little too aggressive. I don't know, but I don't have any complaints about it. What do you guys think?
It's been a while since I've held it, so. No, it's like aggressive enough to make you feel like you have it, but not so much to where it's annoying.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, solid grips, nothing. I have no complaints there.
No. And then, okay, so this one we put an asterisk next to for the next talking point. It's the safety. I prefer to not have a safety on my guns altogether. Would you say you prefer that too?
I would say if you're doing competition, definitely I would prefer not having a safety. For me personally, when I'm putting something in my pants, I kind of like having a safety on it. I know it's really a non-issue. There's not a lot of danger. I mean, Glocks have been carried by hundreds of thousands of people, maybe millions. I don't even know. And there's no. I mean, it's a non-issue not having a safety. I mean.
Yeah.
But it's just that peace of mind knowing that I've got that safety on. If somehow something got in there, if something weird happened, I was wrestling with someone, and I just go through the worst case scenario in my mind, and it just gives me a little extra peace of mind knowing there's a safety on the gun. So
Kind of opposite of the argument. We've been shooting so many times where you go to shoot, and you're like, oh, safety, gotta take it off. What I like the best about this one is it's so low profile. With safeties on pistols, the only ones I have to compare to that I've shot is MP9 Compact, where the safety is just this massive paddle hanging off the side, which gets in the way when you're trying to work the slide. It just kind of can accidentally actuate. But with this, it's there to give those people you shoot with safe in mind, but it's not in the way that the people who know how to shoot are going to be annoyed by it.
alongside that, I mean, a lot of pistols, even 1911s, which tons of shooters enjoy shooting. They have a larger safety that I know for me, with the way I grip a pistol, it gets in the way a little bit. We did that USP the USP 40 that I have. It's got a big old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very ergonomic, the gun overall, but that safety, it sticks out a long way.
That's the one thing about that gun I'm not really a fan of, is that huge safety.
So that's fantastic, the size of this.
Yeah.
And getting back to what you were saying about how you can forget to flip that safety off. It's true. If you're in a situation where you need to use that gun, you have a lot of adrenaline going, you might forget, and that's where it comes down to your training. If you're going to use one of these pistols as your primary mode of defense, you need to make sure that you're very proficient with it. That's completely natural without thought. Yeah. Otherwise, you're much better off using something without a safety.
I don't know. For me personally, yeah, I mean, there's two different sides to it. I fall on the side of, I prefer not having safety on my gun at all. Just because those fine motor skills, when your adrenaline's pumping, things like that, they do go first. The positive though to having a safety on a gun, which I do like a gun like this, is where if you take it out with somebody that's not a shooter, that doesn't really have their gun safety basics down, things like that, you just don't know very well. Maybe it's a buddy that you're going out with for the first time. I do like being able to hand over a gun to somebody that's loaded with a safety on it and just be like, okay, I know he's at least safe. The gun's safe, That's one thing. But other than that, I prefer not to have one on my guns at all. But if you're going to have it, this is the way to do it. It's low profile. You don't have to move your grip at all to actuate that safety, and it's really, really easy to actuate off. You just flip it off. It comes off really easily. If you're going to do it, this is the way to do it. I would say.
Great arguments on both sides. There are arguments for it and against it, and now there's right or wrong. It's personal preference. What works for you? Yeah.
That's probably more of like a philosophy video. Maybe we'll talk about that in some other video. Getting a little bit too far off track with that now.
But if you're gonna have a safety, this is a great one. Yeah. Great safety.
Yeah.
Good job, FN.
Next is the takedown. I'd say the takedown's a positive. It's pretty easy. All you have to do is take it down. So it's on this side. You got a takedown lever. Flip that down. Let it slide back. Pull your trigger. And if you just kind of push. If you line it up, that comes off really easily.
Not bad.
So, not bad.
Maybe not quite as easy as
not as easy
a Glock.
Yeah, I would probably say a Glock's easier.
It's similar to like a Springfield. Yeah. Well, I guess it rotates the opposite way.
Yeah.
M&Ps have a similar design.
But very easy takedown, And then from there, obviously, it's going to be the same as any other. And then to put it back together, just as easy.
Which is a good thing, because that's a proven design. It's a newer pistol, but it does have a proven design overall.
Yeah, put it back together, that's it. And then you drop your slide.
Why don't you show them real quick? On the side here, there's a loaded chamber indicator. Yeah. This is not live ammunition. That is a snap cap, or the equivalent of.
Yeah. So obviously we're not going to be shooting anybody with that.
Dummy round.
So right now, when you look down the side of this gun right here, it's just completely flat. It's flush. When you rack around in there, you'll see now. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but there's a little red right there, and it's not flush anymore. When you're looking down your gun, you can see that on the side that it's sticking out. It's not flush. I don't know if you can see that or not.
I like being able to feel the chamber indicator, because you got some that you can see from the top of the side. It's just not as if it's dark, whatever.
Yeah,
you can still feel it like you can on a Glock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the final positive point that we jotted down here is the aesthetics. It's a sexy little pistol, I think.
I think it's a really good looking gun. This is going to be probably our one subjective thing that I would say is on here. I think it's a good looking gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gets me going. I'm good with it.
I mean, I like everything about it. The textures. Yeah. I mean, I just
especially in this bitone. I mean, I think it looks good with the stainless steel slide up there.
Yeah.
It's a good looking gun, I think.
I think generally speaking, FNH has done a good job as far as aesthetics with their pistols and their rifles.
Yeah. So I mean, that's gonna be subjective, but we think it's good looking. So
we like how it looks.
It's our video, so we'll do what we want. All right. Anyway, on to the negatives. Not a really long list on this gun. We really like this gun. The one thing that I would say is definitely a true negative that's not really subjective at all is it's less common. At this point right now, there's not going to be a lot of, holsters and extra, companies making little things like, Glock. You can customize everything on it from the old backplate there. You can, get your own custom design in there and all that kind of crap. But there's just not as much third-party support for it. And
people will argue that spare parts and stuff will be harder to come by. FNH USA will hook you up, they'll help you out. I think it's not really a major issue, but it is an argument that people can throw out there.
I mean, you can come by anything for a Glock. They're kind of like Hondas, Yeah. So we put safety on here as well on list of negatives. That's just because that's more of a subjective thing for us. We had to put it on the list because it's there.
some people will hate it.
Yeah, I would prefer it wasn't there at all. Although there is the one instance, in my opinion, when you have people out there you don't really know. That's the only time I do like it. The weight, we put an asterisk next to this one because I wouldn't say it's a true negative. It is a pretty light pistol. Over here, if you look on our miscellaneous data sheet, we do have the weight. Where did we put the weight at here? 27.5 ounces. It weighs more than like a comparable Glock or something like that. Yeah. But you know, compare this to a SIG or something, it's going to be lighter. Mm-hmm. So with the polymer frame and everything, it's still going to have a good weight to it. So that's why we kind of put an asterisk next to that.
It doesn't feel that heavy.
It's not bad at all.
I mean, 27 ounces sounds like quite a bit, but I mean, once it's in your hand, it.
Yeah, no, it's
not accurate. I mean,
but balance as well.
Yeah, it does. Good balance.
It does have really good balance.
And the balance has a lot to do with how the weight feels. You know, a gun can feel a lot heavier than it really is, or a lot lighter than it is, depending on how well it's balanced. So that's
awesome. Next is it's not proven. It's a newer gun. I guess in here I'll talk about there was the FNP, which it's often mistaken for. So there's the FNP, which was a gun that they're no longer producing by FNH. They made the FNX, which is the newer version of that gun, which is very similar to the FNS. And the difference between those two and this one is those two have a hammer, and this one's obviously striker. So that's going to be the big difference. But FNP is the older model. Then they made the FNX, which has some upgrades and things, mostly ergonomics. I think they did lower the bore axis ratio from the FNP to the FNX.
It looks like it.
And then it's mostly, you know, magazine release, things like that. Some internals are a little different, but overall it's pretty similar. Last one on the negatives, some people complain about is the back strap. If you pull out the magazine here, it's not really held down super well down here at the bottom. I don't know if you can see this. You can see it moving a little bit there. All it has holding it here is if you push like a pin or something in there, you depress this little wedge of plastic, I guess, that just kind of sticks up like this, and when the back strap comes on, it hooks onto it. And holds
it does feel pretty flimsy when you look at it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's easy to take off and put back on.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen videos of some people saying that theirs are moving and stuff, but mine doesn't move at all. So I don't really have any complaints about it, but that's something that we have seen, so we just threw it in there because that does seem a little flimsy the way it goes on. Plus, for most people, you find the back strap you like, and that's one you're going to leave on your gun forever. So
yeah,
I mean, your hand's not going to change unless you just get super fat really fast. So
it's a possibility.
Yeah. You know, lots of McDonald's in this country, so.
But I mean, that's the gist of the FNS-40. It's a solid pistol. I think all three of us really like the pistol overall. Jeremy, if you were going to say your overall opinion on this thing, your overall score, what would you give it?
You know, for me, I'd probably give it like a 9, 8.7 or 9. I guess I'd probably give a Glock like a 9, and I'd probably put this right there, or maybe just under. And the only reason I say that, I do like shooting this gun more than Glocks. I don't like the safety though, so that kind of holds it back in my opinion. I wish it didn't have the safety.
What do you say, Cody? How do you feel about this thing?
With the first night I came over and saw it, I was really just impressed by how easy it is to work everything on it. Ergonomics definitely the big plus on it for me.
Yeah.
Just slide release is just kind of a nice. Just the design of it. It's something that's easy to hit, but not something you'll hit accidentally. And just everything is just really reachable. If you're a safety fan, it's right there. Easy to pop on, easy to pop off.
If you're complaining about a Glock is that it doesn't have a safety, like this is probably going to be the gun you want to go to. It's an excellent gun. I really like this gun. And
it's so you just put your hand and it just kind of welds itself onto it. It's a good feel. That's my plus for it.
And I've got to agree. I mean, overall, there's nothing that I really dislike about this pistol. Great looking aesthetically, which for me, you know, I like guns that look good. I'm not going to lie. My experience with FNH, it's been very positive in every way. Their products have been solid. I know a lot of people don't know a lot about FNH, some of their stuff is a little bit more high-end or obscure, maybe not as mainstream. You know, you have things like the PS90.
Those are pretty popular with video games now.
They are.
And stuff like that. So
Yeah,
people think they know.
The
all about
FS-2000, that thing's kind of cool. It looks very futuristic.
Yeah.
I mean, they're different firearms, so I mean, your mainstream AR-15 guys, though, they're not generally purchasing these firearms, so they're not as well known. But all of my experience with them, they've been very, very reliable and solid firearms, and this is not an exception to that rule. And then overall, when it comes down to it, it's just my joy factor that I feel when I shoot a firearm is the biggest thing that I put into the rating, what I'm going to give to this thing. And you know, when you put this in your hand and pull the trigger, it feels nice, and you want to keep on shooting it. And for that reason, I'm going to give it a 9.1.
I will say my last big plus about this, this is FNH USA that makes this, so it's made in the USA. This gun is right there on the side of the slide. You can see it, which I always like to see. I like to know that my money's going to people here in the US.
So overall, great pistol. I think we
I'll
all
add
agree.
in one more quick thing.
Yeah.
I was talking about the magazines. The polish on them is really good, so they drop out super easy.
Yeah.
And I'm a fan of metal magazines, I know Jeremy prefers polymer a little bit for weight, which is nice. It does save a little bit of weight. But for those metal magazines, you're right.
They come out a lot nicer, yeah. But it just seems, I don't know. I do kind of prefer polymer a little bit, though. That's just me. That's personal.
I do like that it has this big old paddle on the bottom that you can just smack in there.
Yeah.
Just lots of way to, if something bad does happen, you got somewhere to grip where you can rip it out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that is a good point.
So it's a well thought out firearm.
Very ergonomic. I like the ergonomics on this more than a Glock. And another big plus in my opinion is the price. This thing comes with Trijicon night sight, you guys. When you're talking about like a comparable Glock, if you were to buy one, you're probably paying what, 60, 50, 60, 70 bucks more when you put night sights on it, because that's an extra like $100 option. So
Glock sights are pretty crappy out of the box.
yeah. So
they're very standard.
these are very nice sights. So I like it. I think it's good value. You get 3 mags with it. So yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for listening to our rant. Hopefully we informed you in the areas that you were interested in. If there's any other questions you have, feel free to comment. We'll get back to you as quick as we can. We enjoy your support. Keep it coming. And that's another review for the FNS-40. Doomsday Brothers out.
Wow. I might want to go 9 in this, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm at FN, man. They make great guns.
Really nice.
They make my favorite gun, so
Yeah.
can't go wrong with FN.